Hi, my name is Tiwa, and I'm going to be talking to you about my project on Plankville. My project is based on three main groups: adjudicated properties in red, parks in green, and transportation system. The reason why I chose this group was trying to find a connection between natural and non-natural systems. Natural systems meaning the parks, which will represent wildlife and vegetation, and non-natural systems, which will be the transportation, which will serve as a circulatory systems for people to the natural functions. But most importantly, adjudicated properties. The reason for choosing this adjudicated property is because of how dense it is on this site and the impact it has on this site as a whole. Adjudicated properties are properties that have been abandoned or defaulted by their owners, thereby leaving the government to designate it as abandoned and not in use. And due to that, these properties are either being broken into or blighted. And so what I want to do with this site is find a way to include this adjudicated property into Plankville system to function as either some type of open space or some type of facility that would impact the whole of Plankville in a positive way. So what I've decided to do was to create a model of my site just to test out the idea of using abandoned space and adjudicated properties. So I created a map showing plank load and other connecting load. And as you can see, plank load and this other loads divide this space into 4 different segments, but divides the green spaces into 3 different segments. 1, 2, 3. These are green spaces that have large mass, and on this part have little to no mass at all. So I've decided to take this space here, which is some vacant lots left by ExxonMobil, and include that as a greenway on Plankwood, which would then serve as a function to this space, this space, this space, this space, and this space. And as you can see, with this greenway here, Plankwood has a major green space over here, and you can see with this, we create one large greenway, which could then serve as the main green part of the whole Plankwood area. I then went on to do more research on the adjudicated properties by creating a positive and negative map of the adjudicated properties to all of Plankwood site. And what I noticed from this is you can see how densely packed some of the adjudicated properties are on the site, and why Plankwood will function as what it is, as showing more abandoned than being in use because of all of these spaces. So for this project, I've decided to focus not on all of Plankwood, but on this, on the south side, which is Eden Park. Eden Park is this part of Plankwood, and that's what I initially showed you. And as you can see, it is quite dense, and all the adjudicated properties are in red, and other lots are shown. So what I decided to do was take one block. What I found most interesting about this was this area, this green space here, which is Acadian North and South. And with this Acadian North and South, it's functioned as a division between the east and the south side, east and west side of Acadian. And that divides this whole lot, this whole space into 2 different spaces. So I decided to use this space as a main impact to this Eden Park area. What I then did was represent the adjudicated properties in red and the vacant lots in black. Vacant lots are lots without buildings or any structure in them. And as you can see, the vacant lots plus the adjudicated properties makes it even more dense than it is. And this is after I've made it 1 block away from Acadian Road. And I then moved on to figure out what my main function of this site would be. So I decided to take advantage of the systems I had educational system, which is BLCC, Baton Rouge Community College, and Waterfront, which this site was flooded in 2016 due to the 100-year storm. And what I decided to do was use the education and the flooded part, but also when I decided to add in the adjudicated and vacant lots, I found that this was more dense with spaces, and this could serve as a midpoint, as a connecting point between both parks, and this would then be the community park, the intersection, the main park of this south side area. But what is most interesting about this site is the use of space and the use of space. We use the vacant lots and educated properties to provide more green spaces or some type of open space that will function in this site. And what another interesting part is the properties in gold. Those are properties that have buildings on them, and I propose that we save those buildings or find a way to restore those buildings to make people want to live in those spaces, to draw attraction to this part of the road because of the green spaces and the open spaces and all other functions that will be happening. And this is the master plan of this site. And as I previously stated, the gold spaces, those are things that are done by Habitat for Humanity. They are taking some of the vacant lots and redeveloping them into livable spaces. And using BLCC, we provided the BLCC park and all that and all of it here. And this can be seen. And then went on to make a section. This is a section showing BLCC, showing some of the features that would be added: a bus stop area, a park area, and so on. And these are other sections of the BLCC part. My next site was the community site, which I found very interesting because it connects it, which I found very interesting. And one of the reasons why I find it very interesting is because on these spaces that I created, these green spaces, you can see these buildings that I've marked as relocated. I propose that we move these buildings from where they are and make this space one green space, one major green park, which would then serve the community. Therefore, removing these people out, replacing them, and these buildings can either be relocated to those gold spaces that I have proposed to be redeveloped or replaced, or be given other land from the vacant lots, which would still drive development. People can still live in the same community they are in and have the added benefit of having this park close to them. This is a master plan of my park, and this is how it will function. We've provided a bus stop, we've provided bus station, some type of educational park for the high school over there with an educational center. I've decided to dredge out the waterway here, which would then function as some type of bioswale retention pond, and also provide some type of food cafe for a main hub where people come in and just have a community development playgrounds to encourage people that live in this community to bring their kids to participate in the activity of this park. And these are some sections of the possibilities of this park. We can have sports centers, we can have parks just somewhere where the community will feel whole. And for my next slide is Mohican. This is the Mohican site. The Mohican site is very interesting because the Baton Rouge the Development Center tasked LSU and the engineering and the engineering department to redevelop this site. And from this analysis, we can see that most of the activity is done on the east side rather than on the west side. No, it's not east west. The west side. The west side is abandoned. That was the former Chase Bank, the tax center, and there's nothing happening there. The best case scenario is a parking lot. So what I've decided to do is find a way to include this space to the non-active space to the active space. And that you can see in my master plan by providing a plaza and make some type of business complex, fitness center. I've also included a building, an apartment complex, which will bring in people to the community, a multi-use building, food incubator, or some type of what's the word? Some type of business type building, and a pharmacy to provide healthy systems for this community. And this is a section of the roadway of the Mohican site. These are the sections. This is a perspective map of the site, and this is another one showing drainage on the site. And this is showing drainage and what the road would be. Rather than using concrete, I'm proposing that we use some type of permeable concrete and some type of green space to provide parking, which will improve drainage on the site. And thank you.